protocol, but he's supposed to come out of concussion protocol sometime this week. We don't know when that's going to be, and he can't talk to the media while he's in concussion protocol, so that's got to be respected. He didn't do a podium today. He wasn't at his locker today to talk to the media, but man, is that dude tall. He's 6'3", and he's an honest 6'3", and he's 190, and he can do things that 6'3", 190-pound cornerbacks are not supposed to do, and that's why he was selected 4th overall in the 2022 draft, and that's why the Colts just gave up 2 first-round draft picks to go get him. And he is going to begin competing for the Colts immediately. He is going to contribute now. The word for now in German is sofort. Sofort. Gardner's going to compete this weekend in Berlin, which is going to be unbelievably cool. I wish I was going on that trip. I'm incredibly envious of the media guys who get to go and have employers paying for them to go, because how cool would it be to see an NFL game in that stadium that hosted the 1936 Summer Olympics when Jesse Owens took 4 golds and kind of shoved that straight up Adolf Hitler's ass. Wasn't that nice? It'd be great to be in the building where that happened. Just awesome. We'll see what Sauce Gardner being on the Colts means on the field. What it should mean is that you get to ignore one side of the field. Sauce Gardner is going to take away Drake London when those two are matched up. And that is a big boon to the defense of the Indianapolis Colts. Then you got a week off and you play against the Chiefs. And hopefully Sauce and Mooney are going to be on the field at the same time, taking away different receivers and making it very, very difficult for Patrick Mahomes to find anybody open, knock wood. And then you got a home game against the Houston Texans, and you hope that that happens again and that Nico Collins doesn't gash this team for like 12 catches and 210 yards. He's made his entire career on games against the Colts, and it's about time that stopped. And Sauce Gardner is just the guy to do it. Or Mooney Ward is just the guy to do it. Either one of those two guys, I'm in. There have been 3 other cornerbacks over the last few years who were drafted at the level or just above the level of Sauce Gardner. And Sauce Gardner, the best of the bunch. We'll talk about those guys. We will talk about the Indiana Hoosiers, who are on the court tonight at Assembly Hall, 8 o'clock against Alabama A&M. Who's going to win? The Hoosiers going to win. But what are they going to look like? And who's going to play? Who's going to contribute? Who's going to look really good? We have no idea. None. I assume that Tucker DeVries is going to start. I assume that Wilkinson is going to start. Other than that, I have no earthly idea. I do want one thing, and we'll talk about this as we get rolling, talking about the Hoosiers. I want that starting lineup to be fluid. I hated the routine, even going back to Tom Crean. We start the same guys. We bring the same guy off the bench at the under 12 timeout. We do the same thing again and again and again and again, regardless of the game situation or who's playing well. Drove me nuts with Crean, drove me nuts with Archie when he did it, drove me nuts with Mike Woodson, as though people can't adjust to a different role. Bob Knight was all about adjusting. Like one game, he had this guy starting. The next game, he had that guy starting. One game at Illinois, he had all freshmen and Uwe Blop starting. That, to me, that gets the attention of people, and it puts people kind of in unease. And unease is really, really good when you're creating a basketball team that needs to go out and compete at a really high level. You got to make people uncomfortable. And we have not had a coach willing to make players uncomfortable other than through embarrassment as to what coaches were saying publicly in a long, long time. We're going to talk about that. We will talk about truths derived from the Sauce Gardner trade. What can we extrapolate? I asked Daniel Jones about it today with him. He did not, he wasn't willing to answer the question as it was asked. And I don't blame him. Like I said, you know, your team just gave away its next, or just exchanged its next 2 first-round draft picks for a cornerback which would seem to mean that they're very comfortable with you as a quarterback. What was your takeaway or something like that? And he said, well, I'm real excited to be here, and I haven't really thought about that. And, Daniel Jones is not going to make headlines with his quotes in local media ever, 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 ever. And that's fine. I just wanted to ask an interesting question that maybe was going to tempt him to give us an interesting answer. By the way, I'm not being critical. That is not his job. His job is to win football games. I don't give a damn what kind of answers he gives us as long as he plays really well and wins football games. So let's get that straight. I'm not one of these media wingnuts who's like, man, well, this guy, I hate this guy. He doesn't give good quote. I care that this guy puts the ball right here for Pittman, right here for Pierce, right here for Downs, and hands it to JT so he can hold on to it. Jonathan Taylor, of course, I'm talking about, not Tuimoloau out. All right, we're going to talk about all that and more. The Pacers have got a game tonight, the worst game on the NBA schedule tonight. Pacers and the Brooklyn Nets. You're crazy if you're going to watch that thing or invest in it. I got to tell you the truth. Hey, I love the Pacers, but I'm not watching two teams who are combined 1-13. I'm not a crazy person. But this is Inside Indiana Sports Now for Wednesday, November 5th, 2025, brought to you by the great people at YouTube TV. YouTube TV is awesome. You know what they're doing? YouTube TV is trying to put Disney in its place. Disney is this. Google, which owns YouTube and YouTube TV, is this. YouTube TV is this much of Google. That much. Watched a great piece on CNBC that Rick shared on Twitter, and it was awesome. I enjoyed it, as I do all of Rick's tweets. Just awesome. And we'll see exactly how this thing resolves itself. Rick Longsworth is just, he always knows what I want to see, and he always links me to a thing that I'm going to enjoy. And I did enjoy this because it puts it in perspective what's obvious, and that's that YouTube TV is taking Disney to the woodshed, and Disney's going to figure out that Google, you don't win negotiations with Google. Google is going to make a point, and they're going to win at the expense of Disney, and that's cool by me because somebody's got to teach them a lesson. ESPN keeps walking in and saying, well, this is what it's going to be. It's going to be $18 a month, and that's it for the ABC, the Disney family of networks. So you get all the ESPNs, you get ABC, you get Disney, all of that. The FX product, which I didn't even know, I figured that was Fox. It's not. That's Disney also. And this is what you're going to pay. All right, thank you very much. YouTube TV is saying, nah, I don't think so. We're here to represent our customers, our clients in this negotiation, and I dig it. Sure, we aren't going to have ESPN for a few weeks. I am good with that if YouTube TV holds its ground and teaches them a lesson. Is Sauce playing Sunday? Sauce will play Sunday as long as he gets out of protocol. So that's for sure. Barstow Media, YouTube TV, you're blowing up, Kent. So glad to be here since the beginning and hope it keeps growing. Oh, you're blowing up, Kent. That's it. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Also, become a member. You can do that just by clicking join. You can do that on your iOS device, your smartphone. You can also do it on your laptop or whatever. Just hit join. You got 2 tiers of membership. Both either are eligible for the member talk that we have, the little get-together we have every Saturday where we chop it up and answer all comments. And I make comments to you. You make comments to me. It's all nice. It's a good give and take. And if you sign up right now as an all-meal deal member, you get a free copy of my book. But stock in books running low. So like the first time, I was willing to front for all of the books that I bought, right? I bought a box of I think 100, and they're almost all gone. I'm going to wait until I got some bank to buy the next ones. everybody that signs up is going to get a book eventually, but if you want one, let's say by Christmas, now is the time to become an all-meal deal member. Also, become a subscriber. Look at this. I've already got the 2 hearts on it. A Riley Leonard autographed jersey we're adding to our stockpile of prizes that you'll be eligible to win Monday at 4 o'clock during this show, but on Monday. To be eligible, you got to be a subscriber. It doesn't cost nothing to be a subscriber. And then you've got to use the phrase that pays. And the phrase that pays today is, sauce me. That doesn't sound right. Let's not do sauce me. I don't know what the hell am I talking about. We'll do call the Gardner. How's that? Call the Gardner is the phrase that pays. Of course, why not? And not to make this even longer, but smash the like button if you want to make a comment, or if you want to make a donation, make a donation. But make sure you include a comment or a question that elevates the level of discourse on the channel. All right, let's talk about sports. Let's talk about your Indianapolis Colts. Sauce Gardner still in protocol. It's expected he will clear protocol, but until he does, no media and no playing. He was at practice yesterday. He practiced. There was some news, injury report news. Tyquan Lewis, Samson Ebicom, and Anthony Gould did not practice today, and they are not expected to play. We'll see. Maybe Tyquan Lewis, but I think the other 2 guys are definitively shelved for Sunday. Then you've got, for the Falcons, you've got 2 guards, starting guards, Bergeron and Lindstrom. Those guys sat today. A tackle, Norton, who's been on IR, may come off IR. He did not practice today. And Leonard Floyd, the linebacker, he did not practice today. He's a starting backer. So there you go. Those are our injury updates. We'll see what Sauce Gardner does on the field. All the right things were said also about A.D. Mitchell. The Colts do not ever say the wrong stuff. He just didn't grow up, so we had to ship him out. They didn't say that. We wish him well. We hope that he's happy in New York, that he gets all the opportunities that a person of his talent should be due, all that stuff. And we do too. We hope for good with A.D. Mitchell. And we, maybe it all started here and the end of the story is going to be redemption in New York. Wouldn't that be great? And no more dropping the football before you get to the goal line, AD. Only one player in the 2022 draft has shown greater value, according to ProFootballReference.com, over his career, and that was the last player taken in that draft, Brock Purdy. As I'm sifting through and I'm looking at approximate value scores, I'm like, oh, Sauce is, he's clear the best of the class with a score of 31. And I get through the 4th round, I say, you know what, why even continue? And then I keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going. And right at the end, it says 38. And I thought, what the hell? Huh? Oh, Brock Purdy. So there you go. Only Derek Stingley Jr., Jeff Okudah, and Denzel Ward were cornerbacks drafted at the 4th or earlier pick since 2018. And all were either 4th or 3rd. Gardner has been the best of the bunch, according to approximate value. Truths derived from this trade. Chris Ballard's going to be back. There is no chance you make this trade. If Carly Ursay-Gordon was thinking about replacing Chris Ballard, there is no way she would do it, or she would allow him to trade 2 first-round draft picks for Sauce Gardner. That would not happen because no general manager candidate in the world is going to take that job without a first in 26 or a first in 27. It's just not going to happen. Also, Daniel Jones will be back, despite the fact that he hasn't thought about any of these things, and he's above thinking about these things. I think about these things. And when you learn that 2 first-round draft picks are gone, 26 and 27, how are you going to get a starting quarterback if you're the Colts? You can't trade a first-round pick to anybody because they're gone, and you can't use a first-round pick on any quarterback because those picks are also gone. So Daniel Jones is going to be the guy, which we knew. I mean, that's it. You don't have to read the tea leaves to understand that, right? He's going to wear number 1. What's Josh Downs going to wear? Well, he's going to wear number 2, which doesn't bother him at all because Caleb Downs, the safety at Ohio State, wears number 2, and now they get to wear the same number. 1 was assigned to Josh Downs. He didn't choose it according to him, but he did say that a good little friendly transaction took place for Sauce to get number 1 off Josh's back and onto his own. I don't know what that means. I think Sauce paid something like $50,000 for number 1 when he got to the Jets. Maybe it's something like that. Would that not be the best day in the history of the world? You're ambivalent about a number. Let's say you're wearing number 43. Somebody comes to the Colts and says, hey, I'd like 43. And you say, what's it worth to you? Guy goes, $50,000? What else do I have to do? What other needs do you need serviced? Barstow Media says, how is Atlanta's defense? What do you expect more rushing than passing on Sunday morning? Atlanta's offense is terrible. That's for sure. The defense is really middling in both respects, both pass defense and run defense. They're in the teens in that area. So that's in terms of yards and all statistics. They are a very mediocre defense. The offense, however, I'm glad you brought that up. They average 1.71 points per drive. The Colts average 3.19. That is damn near a point and a half per drive. That's a big difference. They have scored 15 offensive touchdowns. The Colts have scored 33, more than doubled. And it bears mention that the Falcons have only played 8 games and the Colts have played a 9th. How about points per game, though? So you don't want to talk about points. The Colts with 290, more than doubling the Falcons 143, but those are totals, 1 fewer game for the Falcons. All right, Colts outscoring them on a per game basis, 32.3 to 17.9. How about that? I think it was 32.3. I know it was 32 point something. So the comparison of these teams, despite the fact, and the way you got to look at this, you always got to look at who they played, right? The Colts have not played a terribly tough schedule. The Falcons have played a pretty damn tough schedule. They played a lot of good teams. They beat the Bills. So let's not sleep on the Falcons. This isn't like IU Penn State coming up Saturday at noon. That's not what this is. The Colts are better, but not a hell of a lot. Michael Penix Jr., you look at the statistics, all right? Penix, 88.1, so he's like NPR. That should be his nickname, NPR, because his passer rating is a frequency that NPR is usually on, 88.1. WNAS in New Albany, by the way, 88.1. Daniel Jones, he's rocking it at 107 or 101.7. Jones Radio, Jones plays the hits at 101.7. Now with QBR, Jones 70.6, Penix 58. Yards per attempt, Jones 8.2, Penix 7.0. Penix is a lefty, so that's going to require a few adjustments. All right. Yeah, extra sauce for Drake London. Absolutely right, Paul Jones. Atlanta's a good team. No more overlooking opponents. Nobody overlooked anybody, for God's sake. We didn't overlook anybody last week, but Pittsburgh was a winning team. They're on top of the AFC North. Nobody overlooked them, right? They were pretty good. Not bad. They're a terrible defensive team. When you looked at the tape of the previous 2 games, they were terrible. Bad tackling team, bad cover team. Everything was bad. And then this past Sunday, everything was good. So you're right, to your point, you can't overlook anybody. And any given Sunday, right? I don't expect the Colts to play as badly as they did last week. I just don't see it. IU basketball tonight, 8 o'clock, used to be a huge night for me. Like, I looked forward to opening night for IU basketball like it was Christmas Day. I don't anymore. I don't know whether that's just a matter of IU football fixing. I don't know whether that's what that is, but IU basketball right now, I'm kind of like that. I'm going to watch. I don't think we're going to do a post game. We'll do that when Big Ten games or big games come up, like the Marquette game, the Louisville game, Kentucky game, Kansas State, and then all the Big Ten games. But I mean, for Alabama A&M, what the hell am I going to tell you? They're awful, and Indiana is better than awful. That's what we're going to learn. We don't know who the starters are going to be. We would assume that DeVries and Wilkerson will start. I don't know who else is going to start or be available to start. There have been some injury issues. We shall see today. I want fluidity with that lineup anyway. I want a different starting lineup on the regular from Darren DeVries. I don't want this same old crap. We got the same 5 guys out there until the under 12 timeout, and then we're going to take these 2 guys out and replace them with those 2 guys, and then at the under 8 timeout, no. Just let these guys play, please. Pacers, Nets tonight. 1-13, the combined records for these 2 teams. What a game. Can you believe they kept this off national TV? Name, you know what? This is a good exercise. Name a Brooklyn Net. I wish I had a prize to give somebody for coming up with the first one without looking it up. Can you name a Brooklyn Net? I'll wait for your answer. We'll see if somebody knows a member of the Brooklyn Nets. I don't think anybody does. We are getting no answers whatsoever, and I don't blame you. How about Tyrese Martin? Are you familiar with his basketball stylings? Cam Thomas, I remember when he came out. Terrence Mann, I remember Terrence Mann being the name of James Earl Jones' character in Field of Dreams. Wasn't that Terrence Mann? Somehow, he is playing, not of course the late great James Earl Jones, but Terrence Mann is a small forward. Michael Porter Jr.? Yes, Deshaun Pope, absolutely, and Nick Claxton. So there you go. I'm not even going to bother with the guys on the bench. Igor Demon. That's one of the guys. Igor. I don't care. I got to have standards, right? I'm not signing a guy, drafting a guy ever. I don't care if he's 7'1" and the most skilled basketball player ever. I'm never signing a basketball player to a team that I run named Igor. I'm just not doing it. Tomorrow morning, breakfast with Kent, bright and early. IU's going to get the win tonight. Sauce Gardner, clear-headed, we hope. No symptoms tomorrow after this practice today. Let's get him off the protocol. Let's go. But we'll talk to you at breakfast with Kent tomorrow morning at about 6:40. We've been going a little bit earlier, though, this week. I'm just too excited not to talk about like Sauce Gardner and whatnot.